Hello everybody, welcome to the Thanksgiving edition of Autographs TTM. Glad to have you here. I've got 5 quick ones we'll run through today. If you're a football fan, we're a little bit football heavy, and if you're a Dolphin fan, I've got a couple of Dolphins for you. So let's get started. We're going to kick it off with a baseball player. Baseball player is Bob Scanlon. Bob was a pitcher, drafted in the 25th round of the 1984 draft by the Phillies. He played for the Cubs, Brewers, Tigers, Royals, Astros, and Expos. He played from 1991 to 2001. The return time on this autograph was 34 days, and the address is on Star Tiger. So he was born in August of 1966 in Los Angeles. He debuted with the Cubs in 1991 and played his final game with the Expos in 2001. So you don't hear about too many Expo players anymore. Final stats for Bob, his wins were 20, losses 34 in 290 appearances. He had an ERA of 4.63, 245 strikeouts, and in 2008, Bob was chosen as one of the people to watch by San Diego Magazine, and he did spend some time in San Diego as a radio color analyst for the Padres. Chris Barr, football player, kicker, was drafted in 1976 in the second round by the Cincinnati Bengals. That's pretty high for a kicker. He played for the Bengals, Raiders, and Chargers between 1976 and 1989. So a kicker usually gets a pretty long career. That was a good one for Chris. It took a little under 2 weeks, 13 days for Chris to return that autograph, and that address was on Start. So Chris was born in 1953 and grew up in State College, Pennsylvania. So you can probably guess where he went to college. He was an All-American in both soccer and football at Penn State University. He debuted with the Bengals in 1976, and his last game was with the Chargers in 1989. Just some final stats for Chris. So Chris was 241 out of 381 in field goals. That's a field goal percentage of 63.3%. His longest field goal was 55 yards. He did win the Super Bowl twice. And after he was done playing, he went back and got his law degree. So he is a lawyer. Moving on to the next football player, it's Jeff Ulnacki. So Jeff was an offensive center. He was drafted by the Dolphins in the 5th round of the 1989 draft. He played for the Dolphins, Saints, and Redskins between 1989 and 1998. Took 12 days, so quick turnaround for Jeff's autograph, and that address is on Star Tiger as well. So Jeff was born in Indianapolis in 1966. He was a 4-year starter for Ohio State, the Ohio State Buckeyes, and he played both guard and center. So freshman and sophomore year, he played guard, and then they moved him over to center for his junior and senior year. His last game that Jeff played was in 1998. That was with the Redskins. He played in 119 games and started 112 of those games. He did go on after his playing days to coach with the Cleveland Browns and actually did go back and coach at the high school level as well. The most recent information I could find about Jeff was that he was at the Ohio State University with the strength and conditioning team. So he is still in football, just working with the younger generation. All right, another football player here. We've got Sammy Smith, so let's stick with the Dolphins. He was drafted by the Miami Dolphins in the 1st round of the 1989 draft. He was pick number 9, so very highly picked. He played for the Dolphins and the Broncos between 1989 and 1992. So unfortunately, Sammy did not have a very long career. The return time for Sammy was 27 days, and the address is also on Star Tiger. Sammy was born in Orlando in 1967. He played running back in college for the Florida State Seminoles. Here's some stats for Sammy's very short career: 1,881 rushing yards with a rushing average of 3.5 yards, 16 touchdowns. Sammy is also in the Florida State University Hall of Fame. Fortunately, Sammy ran into a little bit of legal trouble after the NFL and did serve some prison time. So we hope Sammy's doing well and has turned his life around. Randy Grimes, so we'll stick with Florida teams, is our next autograph. He was an offensive center as well. Drafted by the Buccaneers in the second round of the 1983 draft, he only played for Tampa Bay during his career, which spanned 1983 to 1992. So the response time for Randy was 38 days, and that address is on Star Tiger. Randy was born in Tyler, Texas in 1960. He played his college ball at Baylor University. At the time, Hall of Famer Mike Singletary was there as well, so they played together at Baylor. He had 118 games, 104 of which he started. Fortunately, Randy struggled with addiction to painkillers used during his playing days. At one point, he was taking upwards of 45 pills a day, so obviously a high addiction to those painkillers. What's great is that after a stay in recovery facility, once his career was done, he became a drug counselor at that same facility. Here we go with some recent passings. Actor and musician Wilco Johnson, who appeared in the Game of Thrones, passed on November 21st at the age of 75. Actress Nikki Acox passed away way too young at the age of 47. She appeared in the TV shows Supernatural and Cold Case, among other things. Actor Jason Frank, so if you're of a certain age, you'll recognize Jason David Frank as the Green Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. He passed on November 20th at the age of 49. Finally, a little-known NFL player named Adrian Dingle. He was a defensive tackle for the Chargers. He passed on November 8th at the age of 45. All passings this week. So something from my own collection. Not hard to see who this autograph is. It's one of my favorites. I unfortunately paid a lot of money for him, but I think we all have those autographs that we really want, and Julius Erving, Dr. J, was one that I've always wanted, so I'm very happy to have that. It was nice to meet him, and so that's one of my favorite pieces in my collection. All right, so it was Identify the Autograph. This was last week's autograph. I didn't get any comments about who might be the autograph on this ball. It is actually Paul Goldschmidt. So now that you look at it, probably a little bit easier once I told you who it was. Here's the one for this week's episode. So this one's a little bit tough, but if you come back next week, you can see who that is. If you know who it is, please comment, or if you want to take a guess, go ahead and put that in the comments down below. Thank you everybody for watching. If you're watching this on Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. I plan on having another video up this weekend, so check back with me after this weekend. You can also follow me on Instagram at autographsttm bob. I also have a website, autographsttm.com. Make sure you hit that like button so my video gets in front of other people. Subscribe so you don't miss anything. Until next time, may your returns be plentiful and your mail carrier think you're crazy. Have a good day, everybody.